Well, the Republicans have stuck together like glue for quite a while now, and after the election, they stuck together like glue even more because they now see themselves as having a more robust majority in the House and in the Senate. Although in the Senate, the Democrats still hold on a slim margin, and they told Obama basically, we are not going to compromise on the tax deal. We are not going to raise anybody's taxes, and that's our best offer, and take it or leave it. So there was not much room for Obama, essentially, except symbolically, as he put it, to go for the middle class tax cut and increase taxes on high income earners. And as he said in his metaphor, he felt like basically the Republicans had taken him hostage, and in order to negotiate his freedom from being a hostage, he worked out a deal, and as he very strongly put it and angrily put it at times in his press conference, it was a better deal than he would have gotten any other way, and it does sacrifice fiscal responsibility for a while, but on the other hand, it produces a sort of let's call it a kind of stealth stimulus, because it puts money in the pockets of people by giving them direct tax reductions on their Social Security payments and other tax cuts as well for everybody, for the middle class. It is painful for liberals and others because he also cut the inheritance tax, which has been a shibboleth in politics here, and it annoys the heck out of Democrats and also liberals, because the rich in the United States have done very well over the last 10 years, and now in terms of inheritance tax, they're going to do even better. So, it is a good deal. I think it's a good deal, and I think the Democrats who are very angry about it in the House especially will come back and reluctantly let this thing go through, and then they can show their constituents that they objected to it. But it's the best deal you can cut in this political climate. Well, and the polls, I mean, yes, there is a poll. The Gallup December 3 through 6 daily tracking poll shows that 2/3 of Americans, 66%, favor extending the 2001 and 2003 tax cuts for all Americans for 2 years. And that same poll also shows the same amount, 66%, support extending unemployment benefits for the long-term unemployed. And it even includes Democrats who support extending the tax cut by 52% as opposed to Republicans by 85%, but independents supported by 67%. So this is a very popular decision that Obama has made, and he's negotiated a very clever package in combining the tax cuts with extending unemployment and adding on top of that some new tax cuts that are going to put a lot of money into the pockets of people. And even economists have said this is not a time to cut back government, and so giving people a tax cut, even if it burdens the national debt and the budget deficit, will probably help to kick the economy a little harder into forward gear, and could help to by 2012, to reverse the trend, or at least accelerate the improvement of the economy. The Republicans may actually greatly rue the day that they cut this deal with him, because if it has those effects, Obama is going to be in much better shape by 2012 if these things have the stimulating effect that people think they might. So, tsunami, the tide goes out before it comes in big time. And if the Democrats get a message together and are able to basically reorganize themselves and regroup, I think in 2012 they do have a chance of coming back strongly, because the Republicans have, in fact, become the party that believes that you can actually spend and reduce taxes, and that in the end there is this supply side economic effect that the pie will grow so much that tax revenue will increase. And every economist, including David Stockman, the former Treasury Secretary under Reagan, have come out and said it just doesn't work that way. If you spend, and you cut taxes, you end up getting bigger and bigger deficits, and that'll be clear by 2012. Well, the chief grievance is that he didn't lead, that he drifted for 2 years, that he came in and said, this is post-partisan America, and I got elected by all the Americans, and I'm going to work out a deal with the Republicans, and we're not going to, fight with each other. And the Republicans never bought into that, so he was constantly, essentially being bipartisan on his end, and the Republicans stuck to their guns and said no on pretty much everything. He did get the Democrats on board, obviously. Healthcare reform was a brutal battle, and it'll go down in history as an enormous accomplishment, mainly Nancy Pelosi skillfully putting together the particular healthcare reform bill that passed. He's not getting much credit for that. Basically, of course, he is being really bashed for having continued and expanded the Bush policies in Afghanistan, no changes in foreign policy, which the liberals really have not liked. And now he, at the end of the process, when the Republicans are about to take over the House, he capitulates with them, essentially giving in to them, negotiating something which I think is remarkable that they gave him that, which is extension of unemployment insurance and some of those other benefits that he got in terms of additional stimulus, and they just feel that he has betrayed the mandate which he had from the voters in 2008, which the left sees as a repudiation of all the Republican policies, especially George W. Bush's, and he didn't follow through with that. And they're going to go after him. I have a lot of contacts, friends, associates, and others all over the country that I talk to, and they're all extremely angry, and they don't want Obama to have a second term, and they think that somebody needs to challenge him, starting with the Iowa caucuses. They'd love Hillary Clinton to do it, but I don't think she will. So I think we're going to see a replay of, Jimmy Carter getting challenged by Ted Kennedy, which those kinds of battles can be pretty brutal for an incumbent president. But I think there will be a challenge to Obama. Yet, I think it could, and I think there's another possibility. I don't know if Bruce agrees with me on this, but Obama said at one point, I want to be a very aggressive president, do all kinds of things, and if it means that I'm a one-term president, then so be it. But it could be that coming close to the Iowa caucuses or somewhere in there, he will say, I've done the best I could. I don't think I can serve the Democratic Party because I've lost a lot of the confidence of the base of the party. And so I'm not running again in 2000. I mean, Lyndon Johnson did this. You say, I'm not going to run again. And that would, Hillary Clinton will jump in and become the front runner immediately if President Obama decides that he does not want to continue. If his numbers are really terrible and he thinks that he's going to go down in history as a president who basically bled the Democrats to death during this period. And that would be a fascinating development if he were to say, one term was good, I worked hard, I did a lot of things, but I want somebody else to carry the ball. It would be just fascinating. But there are a lot of very, very powerful Democrats who are fuming and who are frantic because they think Obama largely caused the collapse of the Democrats in 2010. And these are some very heavy hitters. And it may be that Obama himself, he doesn't want it, but he's not a very powerful president, unless he has the backing of the big dogs in the Democratic Party. And if they say to him, Barack, we can't support you. You are going to cause a catastrophe here, and we're not going to support you. So, come out and do a nice thing and say that you've been a patriot and you did it for your country and your party. But please move aside. He could have a lot of pressure that we don't even know about. And I happen, because I'm old enough and know some of the people, because some of them were my students, know some people who can write $1 million checks for politics. And some of them are really furious at him. And if they take him in the back room and talk to him very seriously and say, your future is fantastic, but not running as for a second term, you can do all kinds of things. You can be the ambassador to the UN. You can be an American roving ambassador around the world to bring peace and kumbaya. But we don't want you to run again. That would be a very interesting kind of thing. And it can happen in politics.